what's happening in Turkey. Obviously, there's been a lot of diplomatic shuttling going around. Just would be
Yes.
interested to hear what's going on.
Yes, we are pretty much following the developments very closely. Çavuşoğlu, the foreign minister, was in Russia today, and tomorrow will be in Ukraine, trying to, mediate this war and to bring them together, also find a solution. But it is a difficult job because we are still at the beginning of this war. And strategically, Turkey also is worried about Russia is gaining control of the Black Sea. That's going to be, we are in the south. If Russia controls the north, it's going to be a very strategic pressure on Turkey. We are not happy with that. But just a couple of maybe points I want to mention. I think Putin, he started a war that he cannot stop now. The decision is not in his hands. And, the world community, especially America, the West, is going to blow the final whistle. So it's not going to be his decision. And their expectations also, safe exit is not, I think, on the table. Of course, there will be a discussion, but at the end, there is a very strong public opinion to stop Putin. We don't hear a lot of, discourse to stop the war. It's like more toward stopping Putin is going to play it. I mean, a big role, especially to unite the Western public opinion. Every time Zelensky speaks at the Congress, America adds more sanctions and more support for Ukraine, for example, and also he's speaking almost all the Western parliaments and capitals online, at least. But this is working. I mean, in a way, we see a united front, and Turkey also a member of NATO and condemned the invasion from the beginning, and also forcing Russia to give up early. But it is not. So I think with the Russian and Putin thinking is not going to be too much. Russian propaganda is based on anti-imperialism against the West, especially in Africa, but it doesn't offer anything positive in return. Or what you offer. I mean, if you are tired of Western colonization, maybe there are some right criticism, but they don't offer. They just want to ride on this wave. And I see this propaganda, especially with Africans and the Middle Easterns. We follow pretty much with our think tank, and they are like betting on people's kind of hatred toward the West, but it is not working. I think at least for in the short run. And we have this, of course, everybody talks about safe exit, but I don't think we have any responsibility to give anybody, any aggressor, to have a safe exit. Of course, it's better to end the war as quickly as possible, but I mean, aggressors also should take the responsibility, or we should be discouraging enough not to repeat in the future. And especially we have some, I mean, this was overlooked before in Crimea, in Syria and Libya, where what they done, what Russians done in these places, kind of encourage them. Plus the Russian public opinion. Of course, many Russians are not supporting this war, and especially the Russians in Ukraine, very surprisingly to anybody, are not siding with Russia. But those who applauded Putin every time he attacked somewhere, I think had some responsibility, carrying some share in this. And we should be, discouraging the repeat of such. But it's going to be now, especially the West is united, and world public opinion in especially democratic countries is going to be a big headache for when the Western public began to maybe complain. It's going to be a big problem. But right now, everybody is talking about stopping Putin and, anti-Russia. It's going to, have a serious impact on the flow of support and also the course of war. So many serious things happening in the front, in the international arena. Also, Turkey is very active part of it. And I was in the Antalya Diplomatic Forum where Lavrov and Kuleta meet, and they had the first time serious discussion, but I mean, the decision is in, in the West. Also, Putin, I think, is not ready to give up yet. I think he's not suffering personally. Russians are suffering, and the soldiers are dying. They are collecting from Libya now, from Syria. Mercenaries they are paying. So those who die are foreigners, so they don't care as much. But I think the cost is gonna be higher in the future. Thank you very much. If any question, of course, I want to comment.
Just two other questions, and then we'll get to Colby. I'm sure he has questions too. One was
chime in here for 2 seconds.
Yes.
These Russians in Ukraine, one has to understand that this was also Russian propaganda rhetoric, also coming directly from Putin. They concocted or engendered some kind of notions that there is a large ethnic Russian population in Ukraine, which is not the case. It's just not true. This is lies. Yes, there are Russian-speaking Ukrainians, but as you know, Russian propaganda attempts to picture everyone who speaks Russian as a part of Russia. So that's where it comes from. So there is no surprise in terms of why Russian-speaking Ukrainians didn't support the Russian invasion whatsoever, because they are just Ukrainians who were portrayed as Russians by Russian propaganda. Thanks.
Thank you, Walter. So just for the professor, a couple of questions. So one was on we saw the recent, just today actually, I believe Lavrov was visiting. Was it today? Lavrov was visiting Istanbul, I believe, and it seems
Çavuşoğlu visited Moscow.
Right.
Today.
Right.
Yeah.
True.
Tomorrow, Ukraine, he will visit. Yes.
Got it. Yes, and so we saw a lot of body language that seemed to indicate that Russia's trying to keep Turkey close as possible, even though, I mean, it's not very easy. So just getting your thoughts on that, and the Polish, diplomatic front is obviously was in display today as well, right? So
yes, the Polish, I think there was a phone call with the Polish leader, and was very positive, very appreciative of Turkey's role in coordinating with them, also humanitarian situation and also military. He mentioned about the military support and exchange between the two countries. Ukraine is happy with Turkey's stance, and Poland and the neighbors, also with NATO, I think the meeting is going to be also very crucial. But Putin, they know the value of Turkey, and Lavrov also, he's a smart diplomat. I think he saved Assad regime after he used chemical weapons with Kerry, and he's now. I don't think he can save Putin, but he's trying at least, and in a way he's trying to gain Turkey on his side, but Turkey will be on the right side, which is also with the Ukrainian side, but Turkey also doesn't want to aggravate the situation, wants to keep the dialogue open. Very few countries now can talk to both sides. I think we need someone also needing to unite them, meeting them together. But the Russian win here is a kind of is a disaster for Turkey in the Caucasia, in the Black Sea, in Central Asia, where you have a lot of Turkish republics, also several, like 6 of them, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan has a lot of Russian-speaking people. So with the same excuse, Russia is expected to attack them, and, it's no good for Turkey. And even like psychologically, it's no good for Turkey. So we have a positive kind of neutrality leaning toward Ukraine. But at the end, this is a major thing, and we closed also the Bosphorus for the Russian ships or any warships that is passing from Dardanelles and Istanbul to the Black Sea. So we are doing our best to prevent the escalation and also pressure on Russia.
Thank you. One last question for you, Professor, before I hand it over to Colby. Is just on the defense pact, or the proposed idea with security pact or security assurance that Ukraine wants. How is Turkey feeling about that idea?
With the West, you mean the support, the pact?
Well, basically, the how the U.S., Turkey, and I believe it would be the U.K. would be providing assurances around, and Poland would be providing assurances around security for Ukraine, if any negotiation was to happen.
I think that Turkey is going to be part of it as being NATO, being the trusted neighbor, and also we will be happy either Ukraine will be safe and even neutral. We are part of NATO and they're being joining the West, NATO, or the European Union, but at least they'll be safe and sound, and the Ukrainians decide their own. But I wasn't following the security aspect too deeply. That I'll check on that soon now.
Yeah, it's not NATO. It's actually just a separate security. They want security assurances, basically. If they,
but this is like perceptual. You can claim anybody threatening you, like with Putin. It doesn't make any difference. He can be threatened by, let's say, Djibouti or Uganda or Ukraine. This is the perception. You can create all kind of threats, and this should be, reversed. This attitude, like this whimsical attitude by hard powers. Rule of law and democracy, human rights, or sovereignty overall should be the rule of town. The rule of the game. So it should not change on a kind of a person, like one leader's dreams, or kind of capricious. Yeah, this is too much. So in principle, also in practice, we understand the security concerns of Ukraine. Actually, they are feeling threatened by Russia, so they are begging the NATO to come and help. Not the other way around. Not because if Russia, didn't have these ambitions, these are cousins of Ukrainians, are cousins of Russians. They understand what they say and what they mean, and they feel threatened. This is actual fear, but the Putin's fear is kind of made it up and exaggerated. And and you can tell, even NATO, when they say NATO didn't attack any Russian interest. And why you feeling, so I want to go to gym, with the basketball club, and the other one want to go to join, let's say, swimming club. It is my decision. Even your neighbor cannot have anything to say on this, or this is valid to the countries also. But we see the opposite. Russia says we are threatened by this and stuff. This is kind of made up. Yeah.
Thank you.